Okay, children. Now let's continue with the chapter, The Last Leaf by O. Henry. Till now, we have been introduced to the author O. Henry, then to the characters Sue, Johnsy, and Behrman, and the reason behind Johnsy's not getting well. Okay, and the reason is her preconceived notion about the falling of leaves from that ivy creeper is directly related to the lifespan of Johnsy. This preconceived notion has surrounded Johnsy with a negative thought. And this is the reason that despite every effort made by Sue, the doctor, she is not getting well. Because somewhere she has kept this in mind that the falling of the leaves directly represent the lifespan of Johnsy. Okay, so now let's start from next. All right, said Johnsy, finish your painting soon for I want to see the last leaf fall. So before this, Sue just begged Johnsy that please, Johnsy, that she has to paint a portrait, a picture, so that she can sell and get some money for themselves. So she says that I need some light and I won't draw the curtains. And in this regard, she begs Johnsy that she should not look outside the window. And to this, Johnsy replies that, all right, okay, fine. I won't be looking outside the window. But she tells Sue that, yes, you should finish the painting as soon as possible because she wanted to see the last leaf fall. I'm tired of waiting. Now she's saying that I'm tired of waiting. I cannot wait for that last leaf to wither away. Okay, to fall down and to meet the ultimate death that she has made her goal, that she has made the achievement of death as her ultimate goal. And that goal will be achieved only with the falling of the last ivy creeper leaf. I have to die. So let me go away peacefully like one of those poor tired leaves. Now see the way of image she's creating. First image she created was that of falling of ivy leaves to the span of her life. Second image she puts forward is that she wants to die a very peaceful death. Okay, and that peaceful death she resembles with the quiet, slow falling of the ivy creeper leaf. So you can see the image, okay, the image which is being created. Try to sleep, said Sue. I have to paint an old miner. I will call Behrman up to be my model. Now she says that, okay, quietly, you sleep. And I have to paint a miner's photo, old miner's portrait I'm going to paint. So for that, I'll be calling old Behrman to be up to be my model. So so she informs Johnsy. Sue rushed down. Behrman lived on the ground floor. So he is that old man who is too a painter and had a dream to paint a masterpiece. And he also lives in the same building, but on the ground floor. He was a 60-year-old painter. Now we are getting the description of Behrman. He was 60 years old painter. His lifelong dream was to paint a masterpiece, but that had remained a dream. So it was his dream to paint a masterpiece, and till the age of 60, he has not achieved his aim. Sue poured out her worries to Behrman. Sue poured out? She talked to her heart. She just poured out all her worries about Johnsy, what Johnsy is thinking about life, death, and then the ivy creeper, all incidences that were happening. She just revealed each and everything to Behrman. She told him how Johnsy was convinced that she would die when the last leaf fell. And she also tells that how she has correlated her life, her span of life to the falling of that last ivy creeper leaf. Is she stupid? Asks Behrman. How can she be so foolish? She's running a high temperature, complained Sue. She refuses to eat or drink, and that worries me a lot. Behrman, he says that, is she a stupid, a foolish girl? How can she be so irresponsible in thinking like this? And then to it, Sue adds that she has refused to drink and eat. And this is the reason that is the most, that worries Sue a lot. I will come with you and see Johnsy, Behrman said. They tiptoed into the room. Johnsy was sleeping. Sue drew the curtains together and they went to the next room. She peeped out through the window. There were only one leaf on the creeper. It was raining heavily and an icy cold wind was blowing. So, now what happened? Behrman, he came to see Johnsy, but they found Johnsy sleeping, so they didn't disturb. And Sue, she drew the curtains together, and then when they went to the next room, she peeped outside the window, and saw the last leaf about which Johnsy was talking continuously was there on the creeper. And the outside it was raining heavily, and icy cold, very chilled wind was blowing. It seemed as though the leaf would fall any minute now, and it was appearing as if that any moment that leaf will fall down. Behrman did not say a word. He went back to his room, and seeing the scene, Behrman didn't utter a single word, and he just went outside. Johnsy woke up next morning in a feeble voice, she asked Sue to draw the curtains. Sue was nervous. She drew back the curtains very reluctantly. So what happened? Sue, now she just early in the morning, Johnsy got up, and in a very feeble, nervous voice, she asked Sue to draw the curtains. And Sue, she drew the curtains. Oh, Sue exclaimed, yeah, as she looked at the vine creeper. And she exclaimed that, oh God, the creeper is here. That leaf has not fallen down. Look, there is still one leaf on the creeper. It looks quite green and healthy. In spite of the storm and the fierce wind, it didn't fall. What a surprise, what a miracle has happened, that despite such a rough weather, the leaf is still there on the creeper. I heard the wind last night, said Johnsy. I thought it would have fallen. It will surely fall today. Then I'll die. Again, Johnsy is up with her negative thoughts. You won't die, said Sue energetically. You have to live for your friends. What would happen to me if you die? Sue is sympathizing. She is boosting the morale of Johnsy. That no, you cannot die. You cannot leave us all alone here. Johnsy smiled weakly and closed her eyes. After every hour or she would look out of the window and find the leaf still there. So Johnsy just gave a smile, a very fake smile. And after each and every hour, she used to just look outside and see whether the leaf has fallen down or not. It seemed to be clinging to the creeper, but it was still clinging to the creeper. In the evening, there was another storm, but the leaf did not fall. And in the evening, again a storm came, but the leaf didn't move. Johnsy lay for a long time looking at the leaf. Then she called out to Sue. And for a long time, Johnsy was looking at the leaf, the ivy leaf there. And finally, she called Sue. I have been a bad girl. You have looked after me so lovingly, and I have not cooperated with you. Now she's confessing a mistake. That yes, you have been looking for me. You're working so hard on me to get me well, but I've been just ignoring your words. I've been just being rude to you. I have been depressed and gloomy. And she says that I have been depressed. The last leaf has shown me how wicked I have been. I have realized that it is a sin to want to die. Now see that presence of that leaf. It has not withered away with that in that rough, stormy weather. So here, that presence of that single leaf on that creeper is symbolizing the the acceptance of life with an open arm than to accept death. Okay. Now she says, I have realized that it is a sin, to want to die. She hugged Johnsy. Then she gave her lots of hot soup and a mirror. Johnsy combed her hair and smiled brightly. Now, the leaf is there. The morale of Johnsy is boosted up. She is happy. Sue gave her soups to drink and a comb and a mirror to comb her hair. And she smiled brightly. In the afternoon, the doctor came. After examining his patient, he told Sue, Johnsy now has the will to live. I am confident she'll recover soon. Now I must go downstairs and see Behrman. He is also suffering from pneumonia, but I'm afraid there is no hope for him. Now see the two contrasting images. One is of Johnsy and other of this old Behrman. Okay, young people, they should be bursting with life. They should have that enthusiasm to live a beautiful life. Okay, and on the other hand, see Behrman, he's a 60-year-old man. He has the dream to paint that masterpiece. But what if he fails to paint that masterpiece? So at one hand, with the life of Johnsy, we can see a contrasting image that she has the hope of living, but it was just because of a foolish thought that she negated the thought of living. And on the other hand, see Behrman, he does not possess the hope of living. He's suffering from pneumonia and his body is not giving him vibes to continue with his life. The next morning, Sue came and sat on Johnsy's bed. Taking Johnsy's hand in hers, she said, I have something to tell you. Mr. Behrman died of pneumonia this morning. He was ill for only 2 days. The first day, the janitor found him on his bed. His clothes and shoes were wet and he was shivering. He had been out in that stormy night. Now, next morning, Sue came and she rendered this information to Johnsy. And that, I have to tell you a very sad news. And that news is that Mr. Behrman is no more. He died of pneumonia. And she says that he was initially was found by the janitor. Janitor is the person who looks after the building. Found on his bed and found him on his bed. His clothes and shoes were wet and he was shivering. He had been out in that stormy night. So you can correlate here. You get back to the previous lines of the stories where we found that when seeing that stormy weather and that single leaf on that creeper, okay, Behrman didn't spoke anything and he just went out. And see where he went out. His clothes were wet. He was shivering as he was out on that stormy night. So, where was Behrman? He went outside and he painted that leaf. That original leaf had withered with that in that rough weather. But he painted his masterpiece on that wall, giving a real life impression of that ivy leaf. Then they found a ladder and a lantern still lighted lying near his bed. These are the two instruments which he used to paint the leaf on the walls. There were also some brushes and green and yellow paints on the floor near the ladder. So paints, brushes, lantern, ladder. So these were the instruments used by Behrman to create that masterpiece. John C. Deere said, Sue, look out of the window. Look at that ivy leaf. Haven't you wondered why it doesn't flutter when the wind blows? That's Behrman's masterpiece. He painted it the night the last leaf fell. So now it has been disclosed that what has happened or how Behrman caught pneumonia and he died of it. It also reveals that how Behrman succeeded in painting that last leaf, his masterpiece, for which the masterpiece for which he waited for a long time. The picture, the painting of that ivy leaf was so natural, so true, that it could not be imagined that it's not real. So you can see that the leaf which he painted on the walls was a true masterpiece by Behrman. Okay, children, two things that I would like to talk while concluding this chapter, which is very important, and that is that how youngsters nowadays, they fall into the trap of depression. It is not a good thing. Life is full of vibrancy. I know at times life gives us tough lessons, but solving those lessons, like you solve maths riddle or you solve some numerical in physics or chemistry, and what happens when you solve that maths riddle or chemistry or a physics numerical on your own? You are filled with joy. You feel happy that yes, we have conquered something. So why do allow these words like depression or something called in a very sad mood? Why not? Why not eradicate these words? You have got so much of things to do in life. So why depression? Why negative thoughts? Life is not about negativity. It's about all positivity. I know times just make us stand in between the margins, but one should try to overcome those margins. One should try to cross the boundaries of those margins and look for brighter and happy things. Okay, so this story contains a moral lesson that one should never fall into the trap of depression, and one should never lose hope for life, for success, just on the basis of false images or imagination, as John C. Surrounded her with all those false imagination and images. Okay, so with this, we come to an end of the chapter. The Last Leaf by O. Henry.